So, you got your rear handed to you by me. What this is, what I'm about to give you, is a little tutorial on playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, without further ado, allow me to get into the basics. So, right as this loads up real quick, sorry, I am changing input on my monitor. We're gonna first start off with a little bit of the basics. So you want to go around. I think around. You want to go to options. You want to go to controls. You can also do it at another point, and you can change some of these to have certain settings. So what you would do is that you would type enter name, and you'd type whatever. But we're gonna use mine for example. That I have set for myself. For myself. Typically I go for this sort of setup. Each of these means something. What I suggest you do is that you go for something you're most comfortable with. However, do be aware that certain characters are better with certain systems. So for instance, if we go into the other settings, you'll notice there's something called stick jump, which, as the name implies, you flick the stick upwards and you jump. This is very useful for floaty characters such as Jigglypuff or Yoshi, for example. However, I typically do not play with it because it can get into the way of certain combos and things that, like, I would like to do. Like, I would like to input up tilt instead of jump. So I would typically turn off stick jump. Stick sensitivity is how fast that input comes out. I have it set on low, again, that way I can, like, input it quickly. And once you do that, you'll start to have a feel for, like, what you're doing. What I'm doing right now is, so if you do this, like, if you, like, dash and then dash forward, that will put you facing backwards. So you can do that if you flick the right stick, if you have it, to do the input. I typically resort to, by default, finding out more about, the options by using stick instead of A. However, if you feel more comfortable doing A or stick, find out whatever works for you. And, that's first what I do. That's what I first suggest. Find a pattern that feels comfortable for you, even if it seems silly. Do you want to have attack as shield? Go ahead, brother. I mean, like, this is really weird, but, like, it certainly is doable. If you want to have jump be it. No, I personally don't. But if you're into that sort of thing, you could certainly go ahead and do that. Thanks to the menu. Now, another thing you need that I would recommend you do would be most likely to practice in sort of sense. You can use classic mode or typically training. Classic mode gives you a good, like, vibe in some senses of, like, what character matchups you could be good against. However, it is, it's not always like playing on a tournament legal stage. So, you could go into training instead, and you can set it to be any sort of tournament legal stage, or whatever stage. If you want to play on, say, on it, then go ahead and do it. If you want to play on Mushroom Kingdom 2, Showdown there, go ahead and do that, Home Slice Bread Slice. However, if you feel more However, there's always this to go for, the training area, because, training. What next is that you're going to need to pick a character, get an understanding of who you feel comfortable with. Now, a lot of people ask me, what's the best character to play in your opinion? Now, the problem with that is that, I don't know, we can do a little bit of math and say there's around 80 characters here. This is meant to fit all sorts of people with their preferences on what to pick and choose. However, that doesn't imply that there is no such thing as a tier list for this game. There are absolutely, like, better characters in some instances. For instance, let's say Min Min against Joker, right? So the thing with Min Min, let's do that right now. Let's get Min Min and Joker. All right, so as we're loading up, I'll show you what Min Min has that Joker doesn't. So in this sort of situation, as you can see, Joker doesn't really have many things that he can do, except he can do things such as this. He can shoot. This is a very far range. It does a little damage, and if Joker were to jump, he would do a drill sort of attack from the air. It's a little weird. It also doesn't count as a projectile, sadly, for some reason. However, Min Min can do this. Another thing about Joker is he has other projectiles. Oh wait, that's my drifty Joy-Con. My apologies. I'm a little new to this. He has that, which this counts as a projectile, which means he has a little bit better things than Min Min. So while Min Min has disjoints in a sense, Joker already is covered by some of that stuff. And also he has Arsene, where you can do some goofy stuff. I'm not going to play one-player Smash with myself, so, but another thing is that each of these characters have a weakness. As you can see, Min Min does not have a good up special unless it's released on the ground. And only then, it's a tether. So, like, if I'm hanging down here going na-na-na boo-boo, what's stopping him from just, like, doing that, you know? Just camping me out. Not camping, but, like, proceeding onwards to, like, absolutely pressure me. Another thing that I see a lot of people struggle with is just simply not shielding. That is another thing you should do. That is a thing you definitely should do. Shielding, you know. You can also roll out of shield, which is another funny thing you can do. And apparently you can input shield inputs, like to roll and spot dodge, with smash it stick. So that's cool. So you could just do that. You can spot dodge, and then if you input it again, you can do a grab. So we're all learning something new here. That's kind of cool. So just focus on shields and grabs, depending on your play style. A character I wouldn't necessarily recommend this would be kind of like a Little Mac, unless you're really wanting to, like, get into the head of, like, whoever you're going against. Because, like, who the heck plays Little Mac for, like, grab combos and stuff? Because, let me give you a hint. Not many people do. Because if you look at the frame data, which I will post a link in the description, for Super Smash Bros. Frame data, you can certainly check there, and I guarantee you it is like garbage range, but it is an excellent mix-up choice. Now, maybe you're just that guy after that explanation of, like, you know, some characters have good things, some characters have bad things, like a balanced system, air quote, because there are some characters that I'm afraid to say that would probably get some people mad to be like, well, actually, they're not as broken as you think. Nah, brother. Up tilt the character. Let me show you an example. Alright, so with Pyra and Mythra, like I said before, they are up tilt the character. What do I mean by this? Check us out. Like, if you're a heavyweight, this is just not fun. 67.9. 80%. And then you switch to Mythra, you send people into orbit. And then we got jab locks and all that stuff, but, like, who the heck wants to talk about that stuff? Proceeding onwards, the weakness to these characters, the recovery is too linear. Notice how much end lag I can't do. I've been spamming up tilt. Like if I do that, and then I spam up tilt, absolutely jack diddly darn squat. Because it takes so long. But it doesn't matter. Because, you kind of just... As long as you're just fast enough and don't give them much time to react, you should be good. So, play a character that feels comfortable for you. If you want to do Donkey Kong back air chains, go ahead. If you want to play Bowser Jr. and just use down B and like the Koopaling bomb and just chuck it at people for the fun, go ahead and do so. There are plenty of characters that you can experiment and study and understand their sort of techniques and shenanigans that they can pull off. Another thing that I hear a lot about is I've been practicing online. Sorry for that. Practicing online, while it sounds good in theory, in practice, it's not that well. Not that well, I would say. The reason why is because you get an additional, 5 frames of lag, which I know sounds like big nerd emoji sound effects. Pardon for the dead meme, but that's the best way I can explain this. It just sounds goofy. Like, what difference does 5 frames make? Now, now this game runs at 60 FPS. 5 frames is 1/20th of a second. Is it? Hang on a sec. I'm not going to do the math, but it's really fast. I'm sorry, someone else in the comment section is probably going to do the math for me, and for that person, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a very nice day. Proceeding onwards. Another thing I would air quote kind of recommend doing is get a general grasp of what each characters have to offer and what they don't have to offer. Understand their play styles. For example, you could go into a random stage, experiment, toy a little to get a grasp instead of just going into the lab, the training. But there's only so much you can do with training unless you modify or switch. And let me tell you, your boy is not going to do some sort of DIY stuff to be able to just have a CPU just DI a single way out. Which DI is an entirely different thing that we will get into right about now. I'm going to try to explain some things. Now, when you get launched in this game, you can influence your trajectory in a sense by inputting into certain directions. That way you can survive longer. Which, makes sense, I guess? Because because the CPU, for instance, right there, flung itself out that way. Why would you want to fling yourself towards the blast zone, I hear you asking? Well, first things first, my friend. The reason why you would probably want to do that is so that your opponent can't combo. It can be used for mix-ups. It can be used for a lot of things. That guy should have got spiked. Anyways, it's just a good it's a good tool. DIing in and DIing out. That is essentially, there we go, the secret to absolutely glassing, say, a Kazuya main who does nothing but practice Electric Wind Godfist. Not that I'm trying to slander anybody who does that. Honestly, props to you. I still can't get the input down even though I have the Pro Controller. Another thing is people immediately rush in for the kill. Never rush in for the kill. Unless you're very confident in what you plan on doing to them. Oh, my bad. But yeah, another thing that how I up smashed right there. I felt like the CPU was going to do that, so that's why I held it. Understand that risks and rewards through the studying of hitboxes, or probably just throwing it out, because let's be real, who the hell wants to study hitboxes besides some people who probably just have nothing much better to do besides playing a game. I'm not gonna slander. I'm just being honest. Oof. Almost got caught lacking by down tilt on the CPU, brother. I can't do that. Things to also study would be hitboxes. Which I know that looks like absolutely rear backwards bonkers to you that I managed to hit that. But having a good understanding of those sorts of things will just click and connect. The hitboxes, inputting combos. A good place to start would be understanding, your bread and butters, your fundamentals, that sort of shenaniganizing stuff. Where, for example, Simon and Richter's would be a down special into an F smash, the Holy Water, which since I'm assuming you were very new to Smash Ultimate, it was the longest smash attack before Min Min. So, it's a pretty good move. A good way to call out. Sort of either get ups or just trying to keep them at a range. But yeah, just figure out what characters you would enjoy, study it through that, understand directional input, where if you get hit, you can change your trajectory, and it can also help you survive. Holding towards the corners of the blast zone, that can help. That can help because it you fling yourself upwards. It's a little bit of like some physics stuff. I think. I don't know. It's just how the game runs. I'm not going to go into that sort of thing. Don't overcomplicate things is also another thing I would recommend. Do not overcomplicate things. Understand what you can do, what your opponent is doing, and how you can close the stock. It doesn't matter what percent they're at. Any percent is kill percent if you just have a brain and patience. Or aggression. Either one. What the hell was that, bro? See? Bread and butter for Samus is grab and down throw. Or you can do Nair. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck was that reversal flipping that you were doing? Well, that's a kind of not really advanced technique called B reversing. And what B reversing does is it allows you to mix up your direction, like a change of momentum. So it would allow you to do other things when just like turning around wouldn't be enough. Like unless you wanted to side B or something like that. Personally, the B reverse is while it is a very stylish option, I would certainly recommend to do what is safe, which can be B reversing. It allows you to outspace. Another thing would be understanding what can be canceled. For instance, if I'm charging this, I can just shield and then F-tilt, which is what I did. Use the DI input to get me out of that situation. That's dead because it's Palutena's back throw. But just get a gist of like momentum. So what you would do is that you would like press B. You'd move in a direction, jump, press B, and right after you press B, flick the opposite direction. However, this works for a lot of moves, for certain side Bs. However, for down Bs, some down Bs, unfortunately, you can't really turn around in it, which kind of is a bummer. However, a lot of up specials can also be kind of turned around in a similar fashion, like Bayonetta. If you're able to properly do it, you can witch twist or whatever the up special is called in the opposite direction, and then you can like mix up your opponent's DI through that and do some shenanigans. Let me show an example. Let me try this a little bit. I'm a little rusty as Bayonetta, so do be patient. I apologize for the inconveniences. So, what you would do... See, I turned around using the side B. You know, it's that sort of thing. Dang, I thought I could cheese that out. So I would, like... do that. Now you're probably asking, why are you doing that weird spot dodge thing? It seems really stupid. And to be honest, I mean, it can seem stupid, but it's also a good mix-up. He thinks he's charging? Psych! Guess what? I'm rolling. I'm scaring you, boy. Boo! I'm a ghost. You know, you have, like, you gotta have that mind game superiority over your opponent. Safe hitboxes and mind games. It's pretty helpful to have in this game. Sometimes DIing in, DIing up, down can help you a lot. For instance, Wolf's dash attack. If you get dash attacked by Wolf, you can DI it up with some characters. Because, you know, sizes and all that. Son of a, get over here. There. The mix-up was actually committing. Yeah. If you know what you're doing, have a good plan to do some mind games, and a good understanding, all that stuff, just get in. Damn. Which time sucks as a counter. But, yeah. Those things that I suggested, just work on those. Bread and butters, DIs, text situations also is something which I've had questions asked to me. How the heck do I even tech? I'm talking to you and you know who you are if you're watching this. I ain't gonna say who, but I'm certain you could figure this out. Now, a text situation is, actually, let's go into training to explain this. But I'll explain on the way. So, a text situation would be someone at any percent, practically, except 0%, any move that puts you into tumble at a certain percent. Now, tumble is a state where, you're fumbling in the air, and as you fumble into the air, you can get out of fumble by air dodging. You can get out by using an attack, an A attack or a special attack, anything along those lines. Yeah. So like an example would be like Villager up. See how he tumbles in the air? So that would be a move that puts him in tumble. And now, jab puts him in tumble. See? Which, let me, CPU got, what would it be? Oh yeah, we don't have a control, so if he's shielding, so if I threw him upwards and he teched, boom, he can do that. Now if he did that, he could get out of tumble as well, but trying to See? He can roll out. He can roll in as well. Whoop, mixed up. But yeah, if you just, it's just simply pressing the shield button. This also works against certain platforms, like this wall, for instance. So like he could ricochet off the wall. Any sort of platform you can ricochet off of, it can be teched. However, if you reach a certain percent, like let's set the CPU. Let's set the CPU a little high. You know, get a little bit of this involved, or I think. Actually, no, let's just... Damn, he's too high of a percent. Let's say he's at a good 80%. What was I gonna do? Damn. Forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm not really doing a script. I'm just going with the flow, if you couldn't tell. What I would suggest is... oh yeah, teching. So you got your wall techs. So if Homeboy is like latched on to this, you know, you think, oh, okay. Doop. Now if you noticed, there was the blue mark, much as previously. Ugh. It's hard to control two at once. As long as you just press that button, it can put you in a state like where you can, like, when you tech against the wall, you can follow up with a special. Oh, also, wall jumps are really useful to understand what you have. That way you could just, like, go off stage more. Do a little dirty. Go a little dirty. Go big and go home, or go home. All that sort of shenanigans. But yeah, teching is pretty important in this game because there's a little bit of a mechanism in this game called jab locking. And what happens is, oh no, Homeboy didn't tech. I can jab him at least 2 times before he's able to get up. It has to be in a certain order. And then I can, like, stack on with additional stuff. So, let's do that again. Boom, 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 boom. Stuff like that. And they have to react fast enough. Now, I'm going to wrap it up as part 1. And I thank you very much for following me on this little tutorial. I will be probably trying to do a little more in the future, but in the meantime, this is what's available. Thank you very much, and have a good day, evening, night, or whatever you're having.